सर्वेभ्यः रघुवंशस्य 12 सर्गस्य ग्रन्थावगाहनम् इत्यस्य प्रक्रमस्य तृतीये पाठे सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। गुरुरेव गतिः गुरुमेव भजे गुरुणैव सहास्मि नमो गुरवे न गुरोः परमं शिशुरस्मि गुरोः मतिरस्ति गुरौ मम पाहि गुरो। वागर्थाविव सम्पृक्तौ वागर्थप्रतिपत्तये जगतः पितरौ वन्दे पार्वती परमेश्वरौ। वन्दामहे महोद्दण्डतोर्दण्डौ रघुनन्दनौ तेजो निर्जितमार्तण्डमण्डलौ लोकनन्दनौ। गते पाठद्वये यदधीतं तस्य किञ्चित् पुनरावर्तनं कृत्वा अग्रे गच्छामः। अस्माभिः आदौ काव्यप्रपञ्चे रघुवंशस्य किं स्थानम् इति दृष्टम्। रमणीयार्थप्रतिपादकः शब्दः काव्यम् इत्यनेन यत्र शब्दैः रमणीयतया अर्थः प्रतिपाद्यते तत्सर्वमपि काव्यम् इति ज्ञातम्। तत्काव्यं द्विविधं भवति, दृश्यं श्रव्यम् इति। श्रव्यकाव्ये गद्यं पद्यं चम्पूः इति त्रयः प्रकाराः भवन्ति। छन्दोबद्धपदं पद्यम् इति पद्यकाव्यस्य लक्षणं भवति। पद्यकाव्यं पुनः त्रिविधं भवति, महाकाव्यं खण्डकाव्यं मुक्तकम् इति। तत्र महाकाव्येषु 5 महाकाव्यानि प्रसिद्धानि सन्ति संस्कृतसाहित्ये, येषु रघुवंशम् अन्यतमं भवति। इदं च रघुवंशं महाकवि कालिदासविरचितं 19 सर्गात्मकं महाकाव्यमस्ति। तत्र रघुवंशस्य नृपाणां चरित्रवर्णनं प्रमुखं कथावस्तु रघुवंशस्य। दिलीपादारभ्य दिलीपः रघुः अजः दशरथः श्रीरामः कुशः अतिथिः इत्येवं रघुवंशस्य राजानः अत्र कालिदासेन अत्यन्तं प्रसन्नया रीत्या वर्णिताः सन्ति। वयम् इदानीं रघुवंशस्य 12 सर्गम् अध्येतुं प्रवृत्ताः, यत्र संग्रहरामायणं वर्तते। अयोध्याकाण्डे दशरथः रामं युवराजरूपेण नियोक्तुम् इच्छति। तदारभ्य रावणवधपर्यन्तं रामायणस्य कथा अस्मिन् भागे कालिदासेन वर्ण्यते। तत्र 104 श्लोकाः विद्यन्ते। रघुवंशस्य अध्ययनात् पूर्वम् अस्माभिः कथम् इदम् अध्ययनं क्रियते इति द्रष्टुं प्रयत्नः विधीयमानः अस्ति। श्लोकस्य अध्ययनक्रमः कः इति। पारम्परिकरीत्या यदा श्लोकानाम् अध्ययनं क्रियते तत्र प्रथमं सोपानं भवति पदच्छेदः. So splitting of words and the components of samastapadas is the first step in understanding any shloka. Once we have the separate words, vakya vishleshanam kriyate. Vakye kati subanta padani santi, kati tinganta padani santi, kati avyayani santi. So we analyze the sentence, try to classify the subantas, tingantas, avyayas, and wherever there are subantas, we try to identify the vibhakti, because vibhakti is the key in understanding how that word relates to the other words of the shloka. एवं वाक्यविश्लेषणं कृत्वा ततः Akanksha Kramena Pratipadarthaha Jnayate. So what is this Akanksha Krama? We saw Akanksha is the desire for information. So whenever we have a Kriya which forms the core of a sentence, we ask questions about the Kriya. Who did it? Whom? Where, why, or for what purpose? Where? When? Etc. So when we are keep asking the questions in the which are designed, you don't ask random questions. We already know what are the various words. So based on that, we ask questions, we get the answer, and we understand in this way, in relation to other words, we understand the meaning of each word. Pratipadartha. The important focus of the step is understanding each word, but not independently, but in context. So contextual understanding of each word is the objective of the third step, Akanksha Kramena Pratipadartha. Tataha asmabhihi अन्वय लेखनं भावार्थ लेखनं च क्रियते. अन्वयः अथवा अन्वयक्रमः इत्युक्ते पदानां सामान्य वाक्यक्रमेण लेखनम्. So arranging the words of the padya into a proper prose order. So you are basically converting the padya which was set into a chandas into a gadya. When we are writing a gadya, there is a specific order in which we tend to arrange the sentences, which is also flexible. We mentioned that, please remember, it is not that the order is inflexible or 100% set in stone. You can move around a bit, but there is a logical order. With practice, we understand. So that is called Anvaya. And once we try to give the overall meaning of the shloka in our own words, which is called the Bhavartha or the Tatparyam. So put together, this forms the first section of Shloka Adhyayana, which is to understand what the shloka is. If we do it, we will understand each shloka, not just an overall meaning, but word by word we understand the shloka, its context, and what it is saying. Kintu shlokasya arthavaгаmanam eva asmakam lakshyam nasti. When we are doing a course like a textual immersion, if you just want to understand the meaning, if that is the objective, there can be, a study where, say you are studying a stotra where you just want to understand the meaning of the stotra, we can always stop here, right? So even this is actually quite an in-depth knowledge of the meaning of the shloka. So by splitting the words, understanding each word and putting it into a proper order, we would have understood a shloka properly. But for the purpose of Bhashadhyayana, where we are trying to improve our language skills through the grantha, right? So if you remember the steps we saw in the first class, Bhashadhyayanam, Granthaadhyayanam, Shastradhyayanam. Granthaadhyayanam serves various purposes: to enhance vocabulary, to understand the sentence structure, to build a foundation for study of Shastras. So to do all this, we need to go slightly deeper into the words themselves. We have understood the meaning of the words, but we need to understand few more aspects. So that is what will come under Vyakaranamshaha, Kavyamshaha. So there are grammatical aspects to the shloka, to each word of the shloka, and poetic aspects of the shloka. After all these, there may be some Visheshamshaha, special points, which vary. Like it could be something related to Dharma Shastra, something related to the usage of a specific word, and so on. So these are the two steps that we are yet to understand. So what we are doing now is, before starting or getting into the core of Raghuvamsha, I want to lay the foundation on the method that we follow and why. It is also like a roadmap for the future. These steps, right, they remain the same as we progress through our journey of Samskrita. It is just that we keep adding more depth to what we are doing, especially at this 5th level. Okay. So that is why I want to give an overview before we start studying the actual shlokas of the Dvadasha Sarga. Okay. So there's one question for the Anvaya Krama, or any new words added. Yes, as we saw last time, when we are doing the Akanksha, sometimes we feel that there may be a few extra words which are needed to complete or clarify the meaning. That is called Adhyahara. Once Adhyahara is done, while writing the Anvaya, we do show the words with a bracket to indicate that it was not in the original shloka but was added. Studied the first shloka, the Mangala shloka of Raghuvamsha, Vagartha Viva Sampraktau. Okay. So we split the words and found that there are 7 padas there. And there are some samasta padas where we try to understand the components. Then we did the detailed akanksha and arrived at the anvaya. Aham is implied adhyahara. Vagartha pratipattaye vagarthaviva sampraktau jagatah pitarau parvati parameshwarau vande. So this is the Mangala shloka of Raghuvamsha, where Kalidasa starts the kavya with a prayer to Parvati and Parameshwara. Parvati Parameshwarau Vande. I bow down to Parvati and Parameshwara. Who are they? Jagatah Pitarau. They are the mother and father of the entire universe. So just like parents are always ready to fulfill a child's wishes or to support their endeavors, he is seeking support for Kavya Nirmana from Parvati Parameshwara. He also gives another Visheshana, Vagartha Viva Sampraktau. Sampraktau Nitya Sambadhau, ever united, inseparable. Like what? Like Vak and Artha. Vak is sound or speech. Artha is meaning. They are always united. So words are always united with meanings. Just like that, Parvati, Parameshwara are always united, especially in the form of Ardhanarishwara. And why? What is my objective in praying to them? Vagartha pratipattaye. Vak artha, again words and meanings. Pratipatti is avapti, to attain. So I, trying to compose a kavya, need a treasure of words with meanings. That is the basic raw material for creating kavya. So for the treasure of Shabda and Artha, I bow down to Parvati Parameshwara. That is the overall meaning of the shloka. So next, we need to get into the Vyakaranamshaha. So in today's class, we will get an overview of what exactly do we mean by the Vyakaranamsha, what is involved, how much overall is there, and how much we will cover as a part of this course. अस्तु अत्र वस्तुतः अत्र पञ्चमे सोपाने व्याकरणांशाः सन्ति, काव्यांशाः सन्ति, कोशवाक्यानि अपि अत्रैव अन्तर्भावयितुं शक्यन्ते. अद्य व्याकरणांशानां विषये वयं पश्यामः. अग्रे अग्रिमवर्गे अन्यान् अपि अंशान् अवलोकयामः. Excuse me, just one moment, I will be back. Kshantavya, apologies. व्याकरणांशाः यदा कदाचित् श्लोकेषु अथवा अन्येषु ग्रन्थेषु वर्तमानानां पदानां व्याकरणांशानां विषये पश्यामः. किं, what is it exactly? Understanding the grammatical aspects underlying each word of the shloka. That is what we mean by the Vyakarana Amshaha. Kimartham? Why do we need this? To strengthen the understanding of the language structure. When we want to use the language correctly, there are two ways of picking up the language. One is, of course, the immersive way in which a child picks up a language. That is the most natural way of language acquisition. It works the best, the quickest, because we are in an atmosphere fully in Samskrita. Yadi tadrishaha parisaraha labhyate yatra संस्कृतम् एव भाषा भवति, भाषान्तरं न भवति, निश्चयेन सर्वेपि वयम् एकेन मासेन वा मासद्वयेन वा भाषाम् अधिगन्तुं शक्नुमः. या भाषा तत्र व्यावहारिकरूपेण भाष्यते तां भाषां वा निश्चयेन अधिगन्तुं शक्नुमः. किन्तु विशिष्य संस्कृतस्य विषये क्लेशः, तादृशः परिसरः सर्वत्र न लभ्यते. द्वितीयं, व्यावहारिकस्तरे यादृशी भाषा भवति तादृशी एव काव्येषु शास्त्रेषु वा न भवति. So it is not, though the structure is the same, the kind of words we use in a normal conversation may not be the words which we use in kavya. That is one. The second is also that the Samskrita bhasha has a very, very rich vocabulary where each word is capable of conveying a lot of meaning. Samskrite shabdashaktihi ityuchyate. Sarvesham shabdanam arthabodhane mahati shaktihi asti. Tasya sampurnatah avagamanartham अस्माभिः व्याकरणस्य व्युत्पत्तेः ज्ञानम् अपेक्षितं भवति. तदा वयं यदा लिखामः तदा अस्माकं वाक्यरचनाकौशलमपि सम्यक् वर्धते. अवगमनकौशलं लेखन अथवा रचनाकौशलम् उभयोः संवर्धनार्थं तत्र व्याकरणस्य ज्ञानं बहु साहाय्यं करोति. यथा इदानीं वृक्षः इत्यस्ति. वृक्षः इत्यस्य ट्री इति सामान्यार्थस्य अवगमनं भवति. तत्तु व्याकरणं विनापि शक्यते. किन्तु तत्र वृष्ट्यते, छिद्यते, that which is cut down repeatedly इति वृक्षः इति तस्य निष्पत्तिः, a derivation is given. So when we understand words to that level, we use it properly, right? So when the context, there is a woodcutter who is cutting a tree, so using vrikshaha rather than padapaha may make more sense, right? So what we want to convey, a lot of richness is added by going deeper into each word. Ataha shloke vidyamananam padanam vyakarana मूलस्य अध्ययनेन अस्माकं भाषा सामर्थ्यं बहुधा वर्धते. तदर्थम् अस्माभिः व्याकरणांशानाम् अध्ययनं क्रियते. कथं क्रियते इति चेत् सर्वेषां पदानां स्तरद्वये अस्माभिः अवगमनस्य प्रयत्नः क्रियते. We can understand every word of the shloka at two levels. So the first level is called the padam. Padam ityukte prakritihi pratyayah. Prakriti pratyaya samudayah padam ityuchyate. So a fully ready to use word or pada in Samskrita, it contains two components. One is called the root word or prakriti and the other is called an affix or pratyaya. Prakritihi pratyayah anayoho yojanena padam bhavati. Tat padam dvividham eva. Samskrite padam katividham iti prishte. At the first level, there are only two kinds of words. Any word that we take is either a subantam or a tingantam. Sarvani padani, no exceptions. Any word of Samskrita at the final level, it appears either as a subanta or as a tinganta. सामान्य भाषायाम् अस्माभिः नामपदं क्रियापदम् इति व्यवहारः क्रियते, किन्तु तत्र क्लेशः भवति. यत्र यत्र क्रिया अस्ति तत् सर्वमपि क्रियापदम् अथवा तिङन्तं न भवति. तत्र सूक्ष्मः भेदः अस्ति. तदर्थमेव अस्माभिः सुबन्तं तिङन्तम् इति व्यवहारः क्रियते. यथा वयं व्याकरणम् इतोपि अग्रे पठामः तथा वयं जानीमः exactly what is subanta tinganta. इदानीमेव अहं किञ्चित् वक्ष्यामि. तर्हि प्रथमः प्रश्नः सर्वेषां भवति. गतवर्गे वयं सुबन्तं तिङन्तम् अव्ययम् इति भागत्रयं कृतवन्तः. अव्ययं क्व गतम् इति चेत् अव्ययानि अपि व्याकरणदृष्ट्या सुबन्तानि एव. Even avyayas technically belong under the category of subantas. What is a subanta? Sup ante yasya tat subantam. Yatra ante, यथा अत्र दृष्टं पदम् इत्युक्ते तत्र प्रकृतिभागः भवति, प्रत्ययभागः भवति. अत्र सुबन्तेषु ante, at the end, which is the pratyaya part, is called sup. That is why this word is called supanta, ending with a sup pratyaya. Tarhi adau kim bhavati iti chet pratipadikam. Pratipadikam is the name for a nominal root. Namapadasya moola shabdah. यथा वयं सर्वेषु शब्देषु अकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः राम शब्दः, दकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः तद् शब्दः इत्यादि वदामः. तत्र यः शब्दः इत्युच्यते, that is the root word. We find that Rama everywhere. Ramah, Ramo, Ramaah, Rame, Ramayoh, Rameshu. Sarvatrapi prakritihi, the original form or the root of all these is a word called Rama. That is termed pratipadikam. Tasmat pratipadikat sup iti pratyayan vayam yojayamah chet subantam padam bhavati. Avyayeshu kim bhavati iti chet tatrapi pratipadikam bhavati, tatrapi supratyayah bhavanti, kintu supratyayanam lopaha kriyate. Avyayas are special words where we add the supratyaya, but the supratyayas are deleted. Therefore, there is only the pratipadika remaining. And the pratipadika is the same, it doesn't change. Any change that we find in Ramaha, Ramo, Ramaha is not because of the change in pratipadika. Pratipadika is common, Rama. We are changing the pratyaya. But once you delete all the pratyayas, what remains is the common factor, which is the pratipadika. That is why the avyaya does not change. Indeclinable. Na vyeti iti avyayam. Sadrisham trishulingeshu sarvasu cha vibhaktishu vachaneshu cha sarveshu yat na vyeti tat avyayam. That which does not change. Why does it not change? Because we are removing the changing part. That's all. So technically, these avyayas are also subantas, but they don't have a vibhakti vachana because the pratyaya part is deleted. So words are of two kinds, subantam, tingantam. Subanta padeshu pratipadikam bhavati, ततः सुप् इति प्रत्ययाः भवन्ति. एवमेव तिङन्तेषु धातुः भवति, ting pratyayaha bhavanti. So in any tinganta, the root word, the common factor is called the dhatu. We call it the verbal root. Say pathati, patataha, pathanti, apathat, pathet. Sarvatrapi samana prakritihi ka asti path. So that path is called dhatu. And to that, we add certain pratyayas called ting pratyayas when we get the tingantas. Evancha prathamastare subantam bhavati, tingantam bhavati. Subanteshu, within subantas, it could be an avyaya, it could be a non-avyaya. That is a changing subanta or a changeless subanta. Okay, this layout is clear. Now, what is this sup and ting? Sup iti ekavimshatihi pratyayaha santi. You don't need to remember this. Please forget about it. I am showing this just to show the su and p. For now, you can just ignore everything which comes in between. Okay. So, su and p. There is a set of 21 pratyayas which starts with su and ends with p. So sup is an abbreviation which covers these 21 pratyayas. So sup is a name given to a set of 21 pratyayas. These 21 pratyayas can be added to any pratipadika. Ye shabdaha pratipadikani संस्कृत भाषायां विद्यन्ते सर्वेभ्यः एते प्रत्ययाः एव योज्यन्ते. It is not different pratyayas for different shabdas. All shabdas get the same pratyayas. Tatra bhedah bhavati. They undergo modifications, but originally the pratyayas are the same. Kopi shabdah ajantah va halantah va पुल्लिंगे वा स्त्रीलिंगे वा नपुंसकलिंगे वा सर्वेभ्यः प्रातिपदिकेभ्यः एते एकविंशतिः प्रत्ययाः योज्यन्ते. तेषां प्रत्ययानां सुप् इति नाम भवति. It is just a name. Why a name? Again, nothing new. It is just joining the first and last letters of the series. So Panini in his Vyakarana, he gives them in a series. Su, Auja, Sammauch, Shastabhyam, Bhis, one long series. And he abbreviates them using the first and the last letter. That's all. Subanta nirmanam katham bhavati. Pratipadikam asti. Yatha akarantaha pullingaha bala shabdaha. Bala iti pratipadikam asti. तेभ्यः सुप्रत्ययानां योजनेन विभक्ति रूपाणि भवन्ति. एते सर्वेपि सुबन्ताः. All these forms are subantas. Why? We have taken bala and we have added one of these pratyayas. Okay. So all these are vibhakti रूपाणि, subanta रूपाणि, shabda रूपाणि, sarvamapi samanam. Katham bhavati? प्रातिपदिकात् सुप्रत्ययस्य योजनेन भवति. अव्ययेषु किं भवति? मूलशब्दः सर्वत्र प्रत्ययान् निवारयामः चेत् एकमेव रूपं भवति. That is all. Now we see here some labels, right? So there is one label for the shabda which says akaranta pullinga, and there are labels for the pratyayas. Right? So one says vachana, ekavachanam, dvivachanam, bahuvachanam, singular, dual, and plural, referring to the number. So if a boy is one, we will add the ekavachana pratyaya. If there are two boys, we will add a dvivachana pratyaya. If there are more than two, we will add a bahuvachana pratyaya. The pratyayas also have labels called vibhakti, depending on the meaning, right? So if I say the boy is an object say I am calling to the boy, then I use Dvitiya Vibhakti. Whereas if I am taking something from the boy, I will use Panchami Vibhakti. So based on meanings, there are 7 Vibhaktis, and based on the number, there are 3 Vachanas. Sambodhana Prathama is not a separate Vibhakti. There is no separate Pratyayas. That is why we call Sambodhana Prathama. It is the same thing as Prathama. There is only 3 same Pratyayas are added. There is some change in form. That's all. So the original Vibhaktis are 7 and 3 Vachanas. 7 into 3, 21 Pratyayas are together called Sup. Okay. So when we have Pratipadikam and Sup Pratyayaha, the Pratipadika has 2 attributes. One is called the Antaha, the other is called the Lingam. These 2 belong to the Pratipadikam. That is why we indicate as Akarantaha Pullingaha. What is Akaranta? Ending in Akara, not the Pratyaya, not the form. Balam is not Akaranta. Right? Balayoho is not Akaranta. What is Akaranta? Bala. In the word, in the Pratipadika Bala, at the end we have a. Similarly, if you see Sahataute, Tam Tautan, none of that is Dakaranta. What is Dakaranta? The original Pratipadika Tad is Dakaranta. So the ending letter is an important attribute of the Pratipadika, and the Linga is an important attribute, the gender, whether it is Pullinga, Strilinga, Napumsakalinga. So these 2 attributes belong to the Pratipadika. And the Vibhakti and Vachana, they belong to the Pratyaya. That specific form that we have, which Vibhakti and which Vachana. The Pratipadika can exist in all Vibhaktis and Vachanas. So here we have all forms. But in our shloka, which is the particular form, which Vibhakti, which Vachana, that is determined by the Pratyaya. So these 4 are attributes that we identify whenever we are studying a Subanta Shabda. Right? Idanim Jagataha iti asti. Jagatah pitarau vande. Tatra kim vadamaha? Takarantaha, Napumsakalingaha, Jagat Shabdaha. So we are specifying the Pratipadika. Then Shashti Vibhaktihi Ekavachanam. We are specifying the Pratyaya. So what we are doing in the first level of analysis is we are specifying these attributes of a Subanta. The Anta and Linga of the Pratipadika, Vibhakti and Vachana of the Pratyaya. Why? Because that is how we can actually understand all words of Samskrita. The Anta Linga, they set the pattern for the Shabda Rupas. There is one story which I want to share here. In the Mahabhashya, Mahabhashya is a text of Vyakarana. In that, in some context, there is, in the initial portions, there is a question, why are you creating a Vyakarana at all? Why not just make a list of all the words in Samskrita and go on studying the words? Anyway, what we want is to learn the words. Why don't we take the words individually and learn them? Why do we want to set it into such categories and study? So then the Bhashyakara gives a quote, which is actually from the Vedic period. Brihaspatihi Indraya Divyam Varshasahasram Pratipodoktanam Shabdanam Shabdaparayanam Provacha Nantam Jagama. So he says, once Indra, Devendra wanted to study all the words of Samskrita. He goes to his guru, who is Brihaspati, is the Deva Guru. the repository of all knowledge. So he goes and tells, give me the list of words of Sanskrit. I will study each word separately. So Brihaspatihi Indraya. So Brihaspatihi started telling the list of words to Indra. Shabda Parayanam Provacha. Pratipadoktanam Shabdanam. Each word, say Indra, Rama, Krishna, Gaja, Ashva, Shunaka, so on. I mean, just a random list. So, Pratipadoktanam Shabdanam Shabdaparayanam Provacha. How long did he take? Divyam Varshasahasram. Varshasahasram means 1,000 years, not 1,000 human years. Divyam Varshasahasram. Divya, one Divya Varsha is 360 human years. So 1,000 Deva years. Divya Varsha Sahasra means 3,60,000 human years. Brihaspati is just giving the list of words. The list goes on and on and on. Na antam jagama. And he did not reach an end. Who is saying is not a normal person. Brihaspati is telling, and Indra is learning. He doesn't need something repeated twice or thrice. If he listens one, he remembers. Yet, having spent 1,000 Divya Varshas in listing, they could not reach the end. What does this mean? If we try to study each word separately, we will never learn all the words. That is why we need the category. Going by Anta and Linga, if we want to learn all Shabda Rupas, there are only about 220 Shabdas. Okay. So if you have our Shabda Rupa book published by Vyoma, we have tried to collect all of them. Few missed, okay, maximum 250 types. That is all is there. Whatever Brihaspati told to Indra over Divyam Varsha Sahasram, all Subanta Padas will fall into one of these categories. Okay, and each category is not very separate. That is why we learn Shabda Rupas as per patterns. Once you know the Anta and Linga of any Shabda, if you have enough practice of Shabda Rupas, you can get the forms. It's not that difficult. A lot of students get scared by the Shabda Rupas, but they're actually very easy, especially compared to Dhatu Rupas. Shabda Rupas have a very specific pattern and a limited set of patterns. So identifying Anta Linga helps us in getting the forms. Vibhakti Vachana helps us in understanding. Evancha shloke ye subanta shabdaha santi tesham vayam Anta Linga Vibhakti Vachanani Janimaha. That is the first step. What about Tingantas? Ting is again very similar to Sup. Ting is another set of 18 pratyayas. Tiptasjhi sipthastha mibvasmas tatamjha thasatham dhva midvahi mahing. There are 18 pratyayas starting with Ti, ending with ng. Ti, ng is an abbreviation for these 18 pratyayas. Okay, so whenever these 18 pratyayas are added, we call it Tinganta. Now, if we look at the attributes of these Ting pratyayas, we have something called Pada, Parasmai Padam and Atmane Padam. The first 9 pratyayas are called Parasmai Padas, and the next 9 are called Atmane Padas. Here also we have Ekavachanam, Dvivachanam, Bahuvachanam, and Prathamaha, Madhyamaha, Uttamaha, commonly called as Prathama Purushaha, Madhyama Purushaha, Uttama Purushaha. So there we have Vibhakti Vachana. Here we have Purusha, Vachana and Pada. So Tingantam means Dhatu and Ting pratyayas. In Subantas, we have the root word called Pratipadikam. In Tingantas, we have the root word called Dhatuhu. So Dhatu is a verbal root. Pratipadikam is a nominal root. Pratipadikam supratyayah militva subantam bhavati. Dhatuhu ting pratyayah militva tingantam padam bhavati. Only two types, nothing else. So now if we say pachidhatuhu, so you have these 18 forms. Pachati, pachataha, pachanti, pachasi, pachataha, pachatha, pachami, pachavaha, pachamaha. Similarly, pachate, pachete, etc. Now, if we look at the attributes of tingantas, there is a bit more variety in tingantas. Okay, attributes are more. The dhatu itself has several attributes, like the artha, the meaning. So if you have heard the famous shloka, nahi nahi rakshati dukrai karane. So dukrai karane, karane refers to the meaning of the dhatu. Okay. Then there is a gana. There are 10 ganas to which the dhatus belong. Then we call pada yogyata. All dhatus will not get all 18, that is all thing. Some get only parasmai pada, some get only atmanek pada, and some can get both. That is why we called ubhayapadi. Okay. So that depends on the dhatu. Will the dhatu allow only parasmai pada, only atmane pada, or both? Then sakarmaka or akarmaka. Will the dhatu take a karma pada or not? Say snati, I cannot say what, that is, I take bath, there is no separate object for it. Or I sleep, so there is no what do I sleep. I just sleep, it is just action. But if I read, we ask what are you reading? Or if I cook, we ask what are you cooking? So there are some actions which allow karma, some which do not. Okay? Then there is a more technical one, say it and it. I don't want to go into it now. So there are different attributes for the dhatu and for the pratyaya also. So there is lakaras, there is pada. We already saw the parasmai pada, atmane pada, purusha, vachana. Okay. So for the initial stages, we will concentrate on only the pratyaya, which lakara, which pada, which purusha, and which vachana. Say vande is latlakaraha, atmane padam, uttama purushaha, ekavachanam. So that gives us enough meaning for now. The dhatu, we just identify the dhatu, vand dhatu. The details of the dhatus will come only in advanced classes. Idanim tu napekshyate. Okay. So the prayoga difference is at the level of lakara. Any lakara can be kartari or karmani, that is active or passive. That is why if there is a lakara, we say karmani lat. Maya gramaha gamyate. I say karmani lat lakara, atmane pada prathama purusha ekavachana. So that prayoga is also an attribute to the lakara itself. So this is an overview of tinganta. In tinganta for level 1, we focus on 4. So for both, subantas and tingantas, in the pada parichaya level, which is first level, we will look at 4 attributes. For subantas, we try to find the anta, linga, vachana, vibhakti. For tingantas, we have the dhatu, but with the dhatu, we just say lakara, pada, purusha, and vachana. Okay. So now if we look at the 7 shabdas of our shloka, vagartha viva sampraktau. Now vagartha, the tinganta, we saw this. We have 1 tinganta, 1 avyaya, and the remaining subantas. For avyaya, there is no pada parichaya. We saw that the supratyaya gets dropped, so there is nothing further. For subanta, say sampraktau. So it is akaranta pullinga Samprikta is the Pratipadikam. So because it is Subanta, there is Pratipadikam, Samprikta, Dvitiya Vibhaktihi Dvivachanam. So Vagartha Pratipattaye. Here it is Ikaranta Strilinga Shabda Vagartha Pratipatti. Chaturthi Vibhakti Ekavachanam. पूर्वं वाक्यविश्लेषणे अस्माभिः केवलं विभक्ति वचनं ज्ञातं तत्तु अन्वयकरणार्थं ज्ञातं but now we try to get the full attributes of each word. Jagatah takarantah napumsakalingah jagat shabdah षष्ठी विभक्तिः एकवचनम्. पितरौ ऋकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः पितृ शब्दः द्वितीया विभक्तिः द्विवचनम्. पार्वती परमेश्वरौ अकारान्तः पुल्लिङ्गः पार्वती परमेश्वर शब्दः द्वितीया विभक्तिः द्विवचनम्. Okay. Now when we come to Tinganta, as I said, for all Subantas we have Anta, Linga, Vachana, Vibhakti. For a Tinganta, we have the Dhatu, Vand Dhatu, Lakara, Pada, Purusha, Vachana. Latlakaraha, Atmane Padam, Uttama Purushaha, Eka Vachanam. Avyaya does not have any attributes because the supratyayas are deleted. There is no further detail. Okay. The question, how it is an avyaya or how do we identify avyaya? Even last time there were questions because the quiz had one of the questions, Kaischit Prishtam. See, avyayas you can identify only by practice. You have to be familiar. Say Prataha looks like Ramaha, but it is an avyaya because it does not have forms like Prataha, Pratau, Prataha. Similarly, Namaha, Mudha, there was an avyaya. It may sound like Rama, but avyaya. So avyayas need practice. There is no other way to look at a word and identify. One of the clues is that, yes, if there is a samastapada ending in an avyaya, so iva is an avyaya, so vagartha viva will be an avyaya. So upari is an avyaya, so tadupari or vrikshasyopari will be an avyaya. If it is a samastapada ending in an avyaya, it will be an avyaya. There are ways, say among kridantas, we know ktva, lyap, etc. are all avyayas. Ktvanta avyaya, tumunnanta avyaya, lyabanta avyaya. So sometimes we can identify, but original avyayas we just have to know. That is, how can I identify if iva is an avyaya? You cannot. Okay. I mean, you have to know that iva is an avyaya. But since this is a samastapada ending in iva, this whole thing is also an avyaya. Also, one more very important thing, in any samastapada, these attributes are given only to the whole word. You will not look at Parvati separately at this level. Parvati is not an independent word here. So you cannot say Ikaranta Strilinga Parvati Shabda. It is not. Remember always that distinction between welding. Once you have fused the words together in a samasa, they do not have an independent identity. So here, Vak Arthau Iva, even though there are three components, the whole Shabda is an avyaya. You will not look at the linga, vibhakti, etc. for either vak or arthavu. Any samastapada, the total entity only has the attributes of the subanta, anta, linga, vachana, vibhakti, not for the intermediate components. Okay. What is the meaning of mudha? Mudha means vyartham, in vain. Okay. It's an avyaya. That's Cha iti avyayasya pratipadikam kim? Cha ityeva. In most avyayas, the pratipadika is the same as what we hear. In some cases, there is a minor difference. For example, for prataha, the actual pratipadikam is pratar. The repha becomes visarga. For most of the 90% avyayas, pratipadika is the same as the what we hear is the pratipadika. So iva pratipadika is iva. Cha pratipadika is cha. Only vagarthau without adding iva is not an avyaya. Correct. But in this shloka, it does not exist independently. It exists as a samasa with iva. There are a few more, but let's continue. I will take the questions at the end. Now remember, all this is the first level of understanding. What do? We know that padas are of two kinds. Subantas, where we have pratipadikam with supratyaya, and then tingantas, where we have dhatu with ting pratyaya. For subantas, we identify the attributes as antaha, lingam, vachanam, vibhaktihi. For tingantam, we identify lakaraha, padam, purushaha, vachanam. So this is level 1 of understanding a word. Then when we go one level deeper, okay, what happens is this pratipadika or this dhatu, okay, katham utpadyate. How do we get the pratipadikam or the dhatu itself is a question. Because in Samskrita, say a word when you take Parvati Parameshwara, we can see that there are components there. We have brought together multiple things. For Parvati Parameshwarau, the Pratipadika is Parvati Parameshwara, which is together an Akaranta, Pullinga, Dvitiya Vibhakti, Dvivachana Shabda. But what about the components within? Can we analyze the components? What or how is the Pratipadika or the Dhatu obtained? Is a question. That is what we try to analyze in the second level of Vyakarana. So the first level of Vyakaranamsha analyze whether it is Subanta, Tinganta or Avyaya. So if it is a Subanta, we try to specify the attributes of Anta, Linga, Vachana, Vibhakti. If it is a Tinganta, we try to analyze the attributes of Lakara, Pada, Purusha, Vachana and close it. That is done with level 1. But level 2, we try to further analyze. We have the Pratipadika and the Dhatu. How did we get this Pratipadika? And how did we get this Dhatu? That level of analysis is level 2 of Vyakarana. So all our other components like Samasa, Kridanta, Tadhitanta, all that comes in level 2. Okay. So I actually wanted to complete level 2 today, but we are almost at 12 and it will take at least half an hour. So what we'll do is we'll stop here for today. Atra adyatana prashnaha ye santi tat tesham uttarani dasyami. Agrima pathe aham dvitiya starasya vishaye vakshyami, because it requires some understanding and attention. Okay. Tarhi adyatana pathasya ayam sankshepah. Yada vayam padanam vyakaranamshanam vishaye jnatum prayatnam kurmah. Samskrite sarveshu padeshu kaschit prakriti bhagah bhavati, kaschit pratyaya bhagah bhavati. What is the exact meaning of the word pratyaya is asked. There is no meaning that those which are added to a prakriti are called pratyaya. So in English, we refer to them as affixes or suffixes, AFFIX or SUFFIX. both words are used. So an affix or a suffix is something which is added to a prakriti to convey a specific meaning. For example, there is a prakriti called Bala. I want to say that Bala is say a recipient of what I am giving. So in that case, I add a pratyaya called Chaturthi Vibhakti Ekavachana Pratyaya to indicate that he is the recipient. Then I get the form Balaya. So pratyaya is anything that is added to a prakriti to convey a specific meaning. We cannot use pratyayas independently. And prakriti also, you cannot just use Bala. You have to add some pratyaya and use it. All words in Samskrita, you cannot independently use a dhatu or a pratipadika. Right? So you cannot say just pathu. You have to use one of the hundreds of forms that pathu generates. But only pathu you cannot use. So both prakriti and pratyaya, they need each other. Only by combining prakriti and pratyaya, we get a ready-to-use word. And these words, padam dvividham bhavati, subantam tingantam. Subantam ityukte shabdarupam athava vibhakti rupam, tatra pratipadikam prakritihi. The root word is called pratipadika, which is a prakriti. And the pratyayas are called sup. So we have seen that sup is a name given to a set of 21 pratyayas. Etesham vishaye asmabhihi pratipadikasya antaha lingam cha jnatavyam bhavati. Evam pratyayasya vibhaktihi vachanam. So any subanta shabda, we try to specify these attributes. We tell which is the pratipadika, which anta linga. So akarantaha pullingaha Rama shabdaha. So Rama is the pratipadika, which is akaranta and pullinga. Then if the form used by the kavi is Ramasya, then we say it is Shashti Vibhaktihi and Ekavachanam. Evameva yada tinganta rupani pashyamaha, tatra prakriti bhagasya dhatuhu iti nama bhavati. Dhatu and pratipadika are names. So dhatuhu iti nama bhavati. Dhatubhyaha ting iti pratyayaha bhavanti. Ting is a set of 18 pratyayas. There are multiple attributes to tingantas. For now, we will look at what is the dhatu and lakara, pada, purusha and vachana. Okay. So that is what we need to do for every shabda. Then the second level will involve understanding how the pratipadika or the dhatu is generated. Tasya vayam agrimavarge kinchidiva parichayam prapnumaha.